All right, so before we get into the video, I need to correct the record real fast from day 2. So Bling is a JK, not a JL, the one with an LT1, 10 speed and on 40s. Red Leader and Yeti are both on 37s, not 35s like I thought. All right, now that that's corrected, let's go ahead and get into the video. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan, and on this planet we send it. And what we're going to be getting into today, day 3 of the Rubicon, as we're now leaving Rubicon Springs, and we are just leaving. So as soon as you leave the campsite, you are right into the fun.
Yeah, 1 second, Kim's got a cramp in her leg.
And so like one of the things that I want to kind of highlight, and this may only be something for those coming from like sea level up to here. Like there's quite a few of us getting low oxygen poisoning, which is basically when you're not used to a low oxygen environment. So if you're coming up here, you know, definitely be prepared to have some headache medicine and just take it easy. But the plan for today is, you know, well, let me also say, we ended up doing JB Weld to get the crack in my transmission pan to go ahead and seal it up.
All right, Charlie horse is gone.
So basically what we did to do the repairs is we got to campsite, we put my LG up on its side, away from the crack, and we basically let it drain out completely until it stopped dripping. Once it stopped doing that, I cleaned it up with some brake cleaner, I dried it up, cleaned it up, and then we put the JB Weld on it. And I ended up putting, since it's like, I think it was like 4 to 6 hours, or maybe like 6 to 9 hours or whatever for JB Weld to completely cure. But basically I put on 1 layer, and then every 45 minutes I put on two additional layers for a total of 3 layers. So far everything seems to be holding, because what we did this morning is we went ahead and we filled it up with the fluid. I basically made sure that I was at level. Actually, I unfortunately went a little too much, so now we everything seems to be holding, and you know that's all I can ask, because I definitely lost a little bit of sleep last night, concerned about, you know, how this
was that?
I definitely lost a little bit of sleep last night, wondering how this was gonna, you know, play out. But so far it's going good. So everything seems to be in place. Repairs appear to be complete. So we're just gonna finish up day 3.
All right, ready. Copy.
We're just gonna finish up day 3. That's the plan for today. All right, I got a plan in place. Risks are acceptable. Let's go ahead and send it. Similar to day 2, I'm going to do a quick intro addendum here as we're leaving Rubicon Springs. You can also see how they were setting up for Jeepers Jamboree. But since this day I wasn't unable to get out and do a lot of recordings because we are on the side of a cliff of Cadillac Hill, I'm going to go ahead and do a music montage on the way up to Cadillac Hill. While we're on Cadillac Hill, I'll show you some of the raw audio as we are going through some of the obstacles. Then once we get to Observation Point, I'll go ahead and do another music montage to wrap up the video. arrived at the last main obstacle of the Rubicon Trail, Cadillac Hill. Joe put us into 2-car spacing in between as we went up, so kind of just waiting here for the spacing to spread out a bit. But the only thing really significant about Cadillac Hill is you're on the side of a cliff. So if things start to go bad, it can go real bad real fast. So you'll see me here kind of always tending to navigate towards away from the side of the hill, even though we're here at the bottom. On this obstacle, you'll see me kind of go up and force the, basically go up until the vehicle started on its own weight slipping around this rock. And I'll try to do this as much as possible on the way up, as I think just about everyone else was too. But occasionally you did have to go to the slightly scarier route and move to the side of the cliff. But the trees do a pretty good job of blocking the cliff, so you don't really see how high you are up there especially when you get a little bit further up here. But there's basically about 3 obstacles I'm going to try to highlight. There's the V rock, then I believe it's Morris rock, then there's the final waterfall that you go up. So I'll do my best to try to highlight these as we go up and around, but here you're going to kind of see me pause for a little bit because I'm going to kind of stop and I think I was going up rear lockers almost all the way up there. I turned on my front lockers only when needed. This was one place. So since I needed to put on my front lockers and kind of give a little bump, I just stopped and made sure the TJ behind me was able to get up.
Right there is good. Come passenger. And come towards me. Good.
I'm pausing for a second, waiting for Arnie to get up.
Driver. Keep coming, Keith. Stop right there. Nate, you doing okay?
Yeah, sorry, I must have got stepped on. I'm waiting for Arnie to get up. Here's a great example about how you can see you're here at the edge of the cliff. The trees are blocking the view pretty good, so you don't know how much you're going to be going down. But if you started rolling down, you'd be rolling for quite a ways.
Kevin, give me some passenger now. Give me some passengers. There you go.
Now, the obstacles are not labeled, but I'm pretty sure this is what's known as V-Rock. It might be Hairpin. Again, it's not labeled, so I'm not sure. But anyways, V-Rock is an obstacle that you just don't want to take the turn too tight. You definitely want to go up as wide as you can, go up the hill as you're about to see me do. As a matter of fact, if you kind of pay attention to my hands in the reflection of the window, you're going to see how I was fighting to stay to driver until the last minute when I let it go around passenger. Arnie and the TJ here had actually asked me to get into winch position just because as he was making this turn, which I think he was taking it a little too tightly, he kept sliding. And of course, when you're sliding towards the edge, and that started to become a little bit nerve-wracking. But by the time I got into position, got the camera out, Cammy was already here, spotting him up the line that I had just taken.
You guys stepped on each other.
You got it. No need. Good. Good.
Copy, thank you.
That's too much. You're good. Straight. All right. Keep going. Yeah, you're on it. You're on it. Passenger. Passenger. Coming off. There you go, brother. You may have heard me mention it once or twice, but the Rubicon Trail is absolutely gorgeous. It is just beyond beautiful. And the last major obstacle of Cadillac Hill is Morris Rock. It was named after Steve Morris, who volunteered for 50 years of the Jeepers Jamboree events, where he had parked his vehicle at the top as the volunteer wincher to get people up. But I kind of want you to hear how Joe spots me through to give you an idea on how to approach this.
Hey, you see where I'm at? Passenger side. You get your driver's side tire right up here, and you roll through this thing, and it's a piece of cake, and now Cadillac is almost over from here.
Copy.
Do not be tentative. You got to roll up through this.
Got it.
Perfect. Straighten out and go. What I'm talking about.
This was the last time I was able to get out and record some of the other Jeeps going up the obstacles. So we'll watch the JL here, Brujita, and Brian and the JK behind him going up, just to give you an idea on how it looked for different Jeeps.
There you go. Don't go too high. Come back passenger. There you go. Good. Straighten out and go.
Like I said, once you're done with Cadillac Hill, that is the last major obstacle. You are now enjoying the beauty, enjoying somewhat of an easy trail from here on out, and you're just feeling pretty good up until we get over here to Observation Point. And I'll explain a little bit more here in just a second, but I do want to highly emphasize you are not out of it yet. That was the last major obstacle, but not the last obstacle. But when you get over here to Observation Point, it definitely feels like you are at the end. You feel like you have conquested the Rubicon, but let's go ahead and show you a little bit about that. Once we get done with that, I'll highlight how you are not done with the trail, show you a little something, and then we'll wrap up this video. And every time I look at these drone shots for the Rubicon, I think of the Eminem song "Lose Yourself," where he's like, if you got one shot, you know, what are you going to do? And I screwed it up. So I've unfortunately learned the hard way that with my Skydio 2 Plus, I need to adjust the white in every single shot. If you saw day 2, I'll go ahead and put a click here in the upper right. But you have to adjust the white for every single shot. I had it perfect on day 2, set for dark, but you can clearly see here, I completely whitewashed the picture. But let me go ahead and show you what it looks like when out of my GoPro to give you a better idea on how beautiful it was, plus a few pictures. In addition to the beautiful scenery we have here at this perfect picture spot for you and your rigs at the end of Rubicon Trail, I want to highlight the dark clouds you're seeing in the background there too, because that's going to play a big role on what happens at the end of this video. Alright, so we are now leaving Observation Point. And we are, for the most part, done with all the hard obstacles the Rubicon has to offer. Now, we're not quite out of it yet, as you see me bouncing around here, but I think we got about another 5 miles or so of some fairly easy stuff as I'm going up like a little waterfall right now. Alright, not quite out of it, apparently. Throw on the lockers. But yeah, so not quite out of it, but it would definitely, by this point, you feel like you just have a huge sense of accomplishment, and just like everyone was out hugging each other, because this is a huge gauntlet event. This is the main event for just about everything Jeep. Obviously, there's, as I mentioned before, there's, you know, nothing's really too crazy hardcore. There's a water obstacle coming up here I want to try to catch. There's nothing really too hardcore.
Hey, did you check your transmission pan at all?
Yeah, I did, and we're good.
Copy.
Yeah, so nothing really here is too hardcore, but definitely some pretty challenging stuff there that will challenge even some of the most built Jeeps. We saw a variety of obstacles that maybe it challenged the LJ to where, like Little Sluice, I had to get winched off because I got caught in a rut that I couldn't get out of. And then we see like the Fifth Element just kind of like walk through it. But then when we got to the next day, day 2, and we're leaving Buck Island.
Duck pond off of my driver's side right here.
And we were leaving Buck Island, then we saw the Fifth Element kind of get hung up on the long arms mount. So, you know, definitely definitely it's going to challenge just about any Jeep coming up here. And with as the saying goes, the Rubicon will find the weak points on your rig, and I found mine. And unfortunately, I had to learn the hard way. But thank goodness, you know, the team had some JB Weld. We made the repairs overnight, and I'm back on this morning. I'm finishing the Rubicon, and it's just such a great feeling. I mean, it's a true sense of a self-accomplishment. Not self-accomplishment, team accomplishment, because it does take a team, you know, or I think it's better to come through in a team. There are definitely probably some locals that come through here no problem, and it's like, you know, just something they do on the routine. But coming here with a little team and making it together using teamwork, it's just such a great feeling. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the video. I'm gonna make my way to the end here. Unsure what kind of video I'm gonna show you guys on the way out, or I may just even wrap it up here. But I will say, like, the Rubicon, do not underestimate it. Do not underestimate it. But it is something worth doing, definitely. So. With it snowing. It is unbelievable how awesome this trip was. You can hear everyone else airing up in the background, but wow, what a trip. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.